So many of us have moved to online teaching experiences, or we will be moving to them soon. And for those of us that aren't used to doing this, of course, this is uncharted territory. So we really are learning as we go with how to provide quality online teaching experiences for our kids and our families. So what I want to do today is just kind of walk you through 6 big questions to help you and your teams kind of think through this and come up with some good ways that you can provide quality online teaching experiences for your church family. So I'm just going to kind of go through these 6 questions, hopefully give you some hangers for you to have follow-up conversations with your teams and kind of drill down on these. So the first question is this: why should we teach online? And I know that seems like it's an obvious answer. You say, well, of course, because we can't teach in person, or we have many people who aren't attending our church gatherings right now, so we need to do this. That's kind of a silly question, but I really want to encourage you to kind of really pause here and think about it a little bit more deeply, because everything we do should have a deeper meaning. There should be a why that leads everything we do. And as you think about online teaching experiences, I really want you to think about what your win is in those times. And this is going to come back in the second question, and hopefully you'll see why this matters so much. But this really affords us with a great opportunity as kids ministry leaders to review some of these things. We should be doing this on an ongoing basis anyway, always putting what we're doing under the microscope of making sure there's a good purpose in what we're doing, and also that we are fulfilling that purpose in what we're doing. So this gives you an opportunity to do that in a really important way during this season. So why do we do this? Well, again, we hope that we are giving our preschoolers and kids experiences that they need, but we also are needing to help our families as they disciple their kids in the home during this time. So start with that question first. Then that leads to the second question: how do we teach online? So we are quickly moving from the highly theoretical to the highly practical. Why are we doing theoretical? How do we do it? How do we deliver this content? And I think you have a couple of basic options. Really, you can either do pre-recorded videos that you share whenever, or you can do live videos. So let me kind of talk about the pros and cons of each of these real briefly. Recorded videos, first of all, they afford you the opportunity to provide more polished content. Of course, if you're recording something in a studio or in your worship center, wherever the case may be, you can always stop when somebody makes a goof, or you can do things over again. You can bring in some other features and so forth, make edits. So that's really beneficial. Also, you can record these on your schedule, whenever is best for you. So there are a lot of wins to doing a recorded video that you share online. But there's some drawbacks. One is that there's minimal interaction with whoever's watching it, if any interaction. And so your preschoolers, your kids, your families will be more of just passive viewers instead of active participants if you provide pre-recorded videos, which takes us to the other option, and that's live streams. Now these, it's kind of the upside down. These can be organic. You can have interaction. A lot of times they will have an event feel to them that kind of gives them this weightiness and this fun. So some big wins in that regard. But the downside here is pretty obvious. It's live. And so mistakes you can't do over. If you goof as you're teaching, if you mess up your words or lose your train of thought, it's live. Or a lot of times we have technical issues. How many times have you gone to check out a live stream only to see a warning message? Hey, we're experiencing difficulties, we'll be with you. So the risk of something going wrong is much higher with live streams. So when you think about which of these two options to pursue, I hope you see why it is important that you develop your why first. For example, maybe your big why is to deliver content. You recognize that your kids, your families need content delivered in this way. Well, that might kind of steer you toward the pre-recorded video because you can protect the content better. Or maybe your bigger win is connecting, that you're worried that your families, your kids are disconnected in isolation. Well, that might take you down the path of the live stream. So figure out the why, then that will lead you to figuring out the how. Takes us to the third question. When do we teach online? And again, I think you have 3 options here. The first is your traditional time of ministry. For most of us, that's going to be Sunday mornings. Or you can pick a new time, or you can go anytime. Traditional time, of course, has a lot of wins to it. Your families are probably used to that time. It's easy to kind of build a kid's experience either before or after the worship gathering that's online. So you kind of bookend it. So really big wins there. But you might also want to consider a different time. Maybe that time's harder for your families to meet. Maybe you know that there's a time midweek that would be a bigger encouragement to your kids, to your families, or just an easier time for them to gather. So think outside the box. This time frees us up to be really unconventional in our ministry approaches, to be strategic. So if a Tuesday afternoon at 3 works best for you and your families, go after that time instead of the Sunday mornings. The other option, of course, is anytime. And this is even loosening things up even more, saying, hey, the win is not for us to all gather at the same time necessarily to watch this pre-recorded video, but I'm going to post it and encourage families to guard some time that works best for them in their context during the week and watch it whenever. So choose your time. Choose what time is going to be best for you, what's most strategic, and let your families know about that. Question 4 is this: where do we teach online? So in this, we're thinking of the platform. Kind of goes back to the delivery mechanism. 3 things you can look for as you choose a platform, and there are many platforms out there now. The first thing to keep in mind is the platform's capabilities and features. And so they're not all the same. Some will give you some extra features that are really, really helpful. For example, some platforms will enable you to have breakout rooms. So picture this: you could start with a live large group teaching environment, and then you can have each of your kids' small group leaders hosting their own breakout room with their kids to do small groups, especially if you do that as your normal ministry context, a large group, small group environment. You can copy that through some of these platforms. Not all will do that, so you want to make sure that you're finding the platform that does the best for you in regard to features. The second is security measures. We heard a lot about this when churches really started to gather online, and there were some issues with security. Pretty much all that has been figured out by now, but you still want to kind of keep your eyes out and make sure that it is secure. And the third is you want a platform that is easy for your families to access, of course. Question 5, who does the teaching online? It could be you as the main ministry leader, or this could be a great opportunity for you to train, equip, and release other leaders. Again, think strategically. You may be the one who normally teaches, but this season it may be more strategic for you to train and equip somebody else to do that, or vice versa. So again, one of my big encouragements for you as you think about a quality online experience is to think outside the box. Don't just repeat everything you've always done. This different delivery could give you reason to provide things differently and do things in a different way because it's better that way. The 6th and final question is this: what do we teach online? So this is where we get more down to the brass tacks, if you will. And I want to encourage you, if there's one thing, I would encourage you to do this: start simple and build from there. Start with what your curriculum resource provides. Curriculum provides such great resources that you can pretty much take and plug and play. Think of the videos, think of your poster images that are usually PDFs or something like that. You can integrate them in your online teaching experience and then add sparingly from there and build as you feel needed and as your families feel it's needed. Many kids ministry leaders are uber creatives. And that is a great thing in ordinary times. But I really believe this is a time when creativity can be a burden when it comes to a weekly online teaching experience, and you can wear yourself out in a hurry. So if you do that from, right out of the gate, you're excited about this, you get all the bells and whistles and do just this fantastic experience, but then you forget you're gonna have to repeat that every single week. And so I want to encourage you, don't make that mistake of setting too high of a bar of expectations. Start lower and build up from that. So as you think of the curriculum, think of the big rocks. Again, Bible content, the Bible story, the Bible teaching video is probably going to be part of that. A brief explanation, the teaching proper coming out of that. Maybe your memory verses and prayer. That's really it. You boil it down, a very simple model of 10 or even 15 minutes long could get you there, and then you go from there. Activities, don't worry about those at this point. Many of them won't work either. Same thing with singing. If you like to sing, if your families like to sing, then include that, but that might be another thing to set aside just for now in this season for this delivery mechanism. One other thing though, if you are doing live videos, I would encourage you to be sure to build in some interactivity, some way that your kids, your families can interact. A few quick ideas. One, it can start with simply a sharing time. So as you're starting your online gathering, just ask the question, hey, how's everybody doing? What's one thing that has happened to you this week? And just kind of have that kind of connecting opportunity for your kids and your families. Another could be a game. There are many different suggested online games that are available, so you can choose a few of those and rotate them and just do a simple short game to give some kind of interaction with your kids and your families. And then one third idea is prayer requests. At the end, just save some time to go around and open up and say, hey, who has something I want to pray about? And then pray together. So simple ways to create an interactive environment. Finally, again, I want to say this as much as I can, be as brief as possible. If you're going to make a mistake of being shorter rather than longer. Attention spans have waned and you're busy, so shorter is better than longer. So one final thought, I hope these questions really help you, again, as you formulate this, get together with your teams, think through this. But one other thought is this, that I've heard of a lot of leaders who are frustrated because they have been teaching online, they have been providing online experiences, pouring their hearts into this, investing time into this, and kids and families are not engaging to the level they would like. So two things to consider. One is, it could be a revelation that we have not done the best job of equipping our families to disciple in the home, that this is new for them. They're not used to this. And so it's a great reminder for us to think more deeply about how we can encourage them in this area moving forward. The second is, again, look in the mirror. Maybe the issues that we're not providing the content that our families need, maybe it's too much, as we've talked about these 6 questions. Maybe it's the wrong time frame. You're doing this in a bad time. So look in the mirror, put everything under the microscope and consider, are you providing the resource that your families need? But here's the third and last idea I'm going to leave you on, and it's this: don't quit. You may feel like quitting. The temptation is real. You're working hard for little to no visible gain. But know this, that we are called to minister to our families no matter what. And in this season, we don't want to model a posture of giving up and quitting. We want to model a posture of perseverance and doing everything for the glory of God no matter what. Because in this, we can model the truth of 1 Corinthians 15:58, which says, therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling the Lord's work, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain.